Hello and welcome to Eye on Oakland. I'm Chuck Moss. I'm your host. We got a great show. We're going to have a Lansing update with one of our favorite people, Donni Steele, state representative from the 54th District, which is Bloomfield Hills and Bloomfield Township being here, and Lake Orion, Auburn Hills. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Chuck. Thanks for having me today.
All right. Well, you're in your second term now. You're not a newbie.
I am. I'm not.
Yes, and you're on House Appropriations.
I am again. Yes.
And you're chair of the subcommittee on state and local transportation. You're the one with the money and in majority.
That's a very nice tone and tune to be in majority because you run the committees into the direction that you want to go.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, is your main job to say yes or to say no? Full disclosure, mine was to say no. Is it yes or no, or what's going on?
Well, that's really a good question because I'm in the transportation budget and spending, we want to cut down our spending throughout the budget, but we also want to say yes to the road funding. So I get a good position to where I actually can say yes to more road funding, but no to the overall spending on the budget. So I'm in a good spot.
Yes, cutting the bad stuff, keeping the good stuff. So, fixing, look, I can say this word because it has been said before, all right? We're fixing the damned roads. In fact, not just the damned roads, but the blessed roads again, and the ones that are in the middle, maybe going to purgatory for a few years, instead of us going to purgatory for a few years driving them. So, some of them, and damned is putting it lightly, other words we cannot say. Bottom line is, Governor Whitmer, that was her signature promise, her signature issue. It's still unfulfilled 6 years in. She hadn't gotten it done. Where are we at on funding packages?
Well, it's a really good question, and you cut me off when I go long-winded. So
No, I can talk budget forever. You know that, and it's a warning to all of you.
Okay, so I'll try not to get into too many details, but give you a good overview of what has transpired since I've been there, which I'm on my second term, but it's only a 2-year term, so I'm in my 2.5 year so far.
Right.
So when I first got on board, we had just started a really big road funding project, and that was funded through borrowed money of $3 billion from the revolving fund, and now we're in the process of having to pay that funding back.
Yeah, that's awful in that you got to pay it back. It's easy to get it.
Yeah. So it was $3 billion, and it's close to, I believe, $250 million that we have to pay back on an annual basis because it's not only this road funding, but past road funding as well, and it's cumulative that we owe close to $6 billion back on our road funding.
6B for baby, $billion.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And do you have to pay interest on that?
Yes, and it's bonding, and so they roll the interest
It's
with the
bonded.
payment.
Okay,
Yes,
so
yeah.
that's including all the carrying charges,
Yes.
right?
So when you saw everybody's like, well, yeah, I saw the road barrels on 696 and I-69 and 94 and I-75, and the roads are much better. Yes. For the big roads, which are your MDOT roads, which is the Michigan Department of Transportation, those are your trunk roads, including your I-75s, and those roads have gotten a lot of consideration.
How about Woodward Avenue?
Woodward Avenue, yes, because
State Highway M1.
Yes, it is, and it did get some funding. And right by Square Lake Road, they fixed that interchange, which is I would have liked to see Square Lake a little bit bigger, but it's at least fixed, and so it's a lot nicer than it was.
And I have not driven that intersection since about 8 o'clock this morning, and I will not be driving it again for another hour.
So it should be good in about an hour. So.
Oh, good. Oh.
So what we are moving into is that was a one-time spending because you borrowed the money, but we don't have, back to the road budgeting, a long-term funding process because on an annual basis, our roads are about $3 billion with a B short every year, which is our county roads, our local roads, which is our villages and our cities, and then, of course, our state trunks as well, too. So, we have a big state. There's 83 counties. We need to make sure that they have road funding from what we say, your driveway to the highway. And that's what we're trying to concentrate on this year.
Now, when you say $3 billion essentially in deficit, that means that you have maintenance costs, because it's not enough just to build something. You got to keep it up, or it all turns to gravel the way it
Yes.
has been. So you've got. Believe me, we've had road commission guys on this one for years watching the quality go down. So the bottom line is that it's a function of money. And if we are $3 billion in arrears for ongoing maintenance, ain't so good. You can build a new road, but how long will it last?
Correct. So it's like it's a funding mechanism that we need to say, okay, earmark these funds and put them aside, and they're only going to roads. Because right now, our gasoline tax and our user fee registration goes to road funding. Well, it's not enough road funding to be able to move us forward into the future of fixing our roads. And if you live in a subdivision, what the county has done is come up with a special assessment district, so the homeowner ends up paying the portion of the road to be fixed, even though they are county roads. The homeowners are fixing them, so you're fixing the roads in your subdivisions and to drive out, and you're fixing the trunk lines with your gas tax and your user fees. And I don't necessarily think that everything should be funded directly by the end user, which is this person that's living in the subdivisions. I think that the state should be able to give back some of that money so we can go to the road commissions, and the road commissions can fix those subdivision roads. And so that's where we are right now with a road package of a policy to be able to earmark these $3 billion so we can put them in the budget for long-term funding. And we have passed those in the House this year already.
Well, good. I mean, we're in Bloomfield Township as well. In Birmingham, the city maintains them. Bloomfield Township, the roads are all road commission roads, and you'll walk through some of these neighborhoods like I have. The houses are beautiful, the lots are beautiful, and the roads are abysmal. And it's because you have to pay for them yourself.
Yes,
it's not cheap. Okay, so we're talking about road funding sources. Does it contain the dreaded R word as revenue, meaning tax hikes?
That's a great question, because I have believed if we do as better budgeting, that we can do these fundamental government tasks that we're charged with without necessarily raising taxes. So we were able, through this package, to come up with $3 billion without raising taxes. And I didn't make that clear. So $3 billion of earmarking for road funding into the future without raising taxes. And that's what we're trying to do. And the Senate just voted out their road package.
Yeah.
And it's all they
Say
did.
no more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No way to fund the $3 billion, but just to put it in as a placeholder of $3 billion, but not a funding source. So I don't know why they didn't look at our package, because we came up with, mega tax credits that are expiring, to use those, corporate income tax to use those, SOAR money to use that towards road, and to use the gas tax when you buy the gas wholesale is not being charged, is not going into our roads, and
Is it going to schools?
It is going to schools, and it's going
Yeah.
into sales tax. However, we said that money should go into roads. So,
Okay, so let me get this straight. What you're telling me, I'll be honest, is that when you get in the budget, you cut the crap, you cut the stuff, and you use it for the fundamentals.
yes.
That's very difficult to argue with unless you are the one getting the money from the stuff, I won't use that C word again, from the alternate stuff rather than the fundamentals. So you keep your focus on the fundamentals.
Yes.
That sounds like common sense to me. So now, as far as, once again, the big thing talking a few years ago is that gasoline derived revenue is going to go away because we're all going to be driving electric cars. That does not seem to be the case. The EV bubble is deflating. So are we looking at a little bit different forms of funding?
Yes. So like, and just kind of go back to that gasoline. Right now, so a tanker goes to downriver and they fill up the tank and they pay sales tax. They fill up the big tank, they pay sales tax. That goes into the general fund. it doesn't go into roads. And so there's $1 billion that goes into sales tax at the pump, not at the pump, but like when they're buying it wholesale, and then they sell it to all the retailers, and the retailers pay back the wholesaler, and that money doesn't go into the roads. So by earmarking just that, because it's gasoline tax, it should go into the roads. So that's $1 billion right there. And what's nice about it, the governor did agree that should be earmarked for the roads. So that was one.
Oh, she did.
Yeah, there was 3 things that she agreed on. $3 billion, using that funding, and we need to fix the roads. So
6 years in. I mean, I will say there was another governor who he would have broken everyone's left kneecap, but John Engler would have gotten the damn roads fixed, and he would have gotten them damn roads fixed in about 9 months. Well, that was John Engler. Yes, so that's good. Now we're talking about there really is that much fat to cut in the budget.
I see that the effectiveness and the accountability could be scrutinized more. And programs that work, fund them. Programs that don't work, don't fund them. And recoil some of the ones that aren't working. And I'm finding that as you study the budget, there's a lot of programs that are not being determined whether or not that they're working. There's the accountability factor. I don't see it. And they could be working, but you don't see the data. So requesting the data and seeing the data that these programs work should be funded. If they're not working, I think that we could put them into the fundamentals of government, what we're here for.
Well, I would say that you dodged the question, or rather dodged the question, because that's what the federal government is working on right now, is looking at all the expenditures as a DOGE. Just dog plus E, or the Doge of Venice, either way. But the bottom line is that this is an approach that I think is long overdue in Lansing. I'm glad to hear someone's talking about it.
Well, and then the part that, nobody wants to cut the programs because they want to make sure that, our elders are taken care of, our kids are being educated.
Yeah, the fundamentals.
The fundamentals, right. But we have to look back. Our last administration, the state budget was $67 billion. The Senate came out with $87 billion.
It was $53 billion in 2011.
It's just not that long ago. And our population has not increased. Yes. And so if our fundamentals are taking care of the things that are fundamentally, we still only have 10 million people. Why did our budget go up $30 billion?
COVID money? Free COVID money that they got used to?
And thank you very much, because when I got there was a $9 billion surplus. So our budget was close to $70 billion, and we had $9 billion worth of surplus, and now we have baked it into the budget, and we probably should roll that back.
I would think so. What is it they told us? Is it don't use one-time funding for ongoing costs? And we all went, ooh, that's heavy magic. Yes. Well, we're going to take a break here. We're talking with Donni Steele, State Representative Donni Steele from the 54th District. Budget, your roads, and a lot of other stuff combined. We'll be right back, so don't go away here on Eye on Oakland. Welcome back to Eye on Oakland. I'm Chuck Moss, and we're talking with Donni Steele, State Representative from the 54th District up in Lansing, and we title of the show, Lansing Update. So let's do a little updating on what's going on. We've got the what's going on up there besides budget. And, dynamics. I got to ask this.
Love it.
Dynamics, yes. Let's see. Whitmer's, maybe she might get some damn roads fixed before she's out. Whitmer's out. Benson's running for governor. McMorrow's running for the U.S. Senate. It's musical chairs all around. They've each written a book. Why don't you write a book?
I would. How to do a better budget at the state. That's what I think I'd write.
How to do a better budget without even trying. Yeah. That's good. So is everything all just positioning right now?
It's very fun to watch, and it's just like it is like the moving chess pieces, and where they're going to land is going to be. I think everybody's going to be like, "Wow, I didn't expect that." But I mean, how about Dugan coming out of the chute but running as an independent? I mean, that makes it interesting. I think if there's a time to run as an independent, this might be the time.
It might be.
So
It might be. Now, what about Nessel? Does she want to be like the trustee of Mackinac Island or something?
she hasn't wrote a book yet, so maybe
She is not. Yeah.
Someone's come out of that. So
Yeah, I think in the Ballinger report there's a little article about people writing books.
you got to write a book, and then you can run for a higher office at a state level. So
Yeah, well, we know two people that wrote books. Wrote a book in nine. It's funny. Nobody reads Art of the Deal, and everybody should. But John F. Kennedy, and that. But okay, so you should write a book. You should write a book, and then you can run. Now, what's have we been living on the COVID money so long that we can't wean ourselves? Big picture, how's that?
I would have to say so. We had a $9 billion surplus in our budget when I first got on board, which was going on 2.5 years ago.
2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
That's all.
2.5 years ago, and they literally baked that $9 billion in the budget, and they spent it all in the first year, and most of it was earmarks. So we did something fun this year as the House, and what we did is we created, because you got to remember, the House is Republican, the Senate is a Democrat, and of course the governor is a Democrat. So I think there's been a total of 3 bills that might have passed all the way through the whole process since the beginning of the year. And I'll tell you about the one that just passed last week. You'll find that interesting.
I will.
The $9 billion was baked in. So this year we said as our House rules that if you wanted an earmark, you would have to fill out an application per se as a legislator, and you would have to publish it of what it was for, who supported it, and what was the need. And there came up 800 requests at a total of $3 billion. But it's all on the website. Everybody can see these earmarks before they go into conference committee. So it has made, all of a sudden, it makes it easier.
Well, yeah, because your name is associated with it. Now, some of them, if it was like let's just say the Chuck Moss earmark for wiener, for homeless dachshunds, I would want that. But if it's the Chuck Moss earmarks for my buddies down at the bar, not so much. So you'd say $3 billion. As I recall, once again, you have a Lansing state budget. Much of it comes from from the feds and various stuff, and is I won't say earmarked. It's the discretionary portion though is far less than that. I mean, it used to be like $9 billion. What is that now? The amount that you really have to play with?
Of general fund money. Yeah.
Yeah.
The words, probably 15 billion.
15, geez.
Yeah.
I feel rich with that much money, and they obviously did because they spent the 9.
Yeah, that was the survey. So, 25 of our $82 billion budget that we passed, well, I didn't pass it last year, but $25 billion of it is coming from the federal government for Medicaid and Medicare. So it's a reimbursement. So that's in there.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we had when we first when management changed in 2011, and we're putting together the budget, trying to undo the damage of 8 years of Jennifer Granholm, plus the permanent recession that then became the Great Recession. We had the then state budget director came like lecturing children. Boy, don't use one-time money for ongoing expenses. And we were like, ooh, whoa, heavy magic. So, and you have all this one-time money that has now been baked into the budget. It goes away.
Yeah, and then even the schools rely on it too. I mean, so they say, okay, we're going to use this money for safety purposes in these schools, and then the next year you take it away. It's like, well, we've built our infrastructure, we've hired people, we've put systems in place, and we've got security, and we got security IT costs that are ongoing, and then you take it away. It's like it's not fair to the end user either. So the school foundation allowance is where you should spend the money, so they can budget within the school districts according to what their needs are individually, because what they need in Ontonaga is going to be different what they need in Detroit. And
Sure.
so
What we used to have at Oakland County was called the Gosling Amendment, and it was named for a woman named Marilyn Gosling, who was a county commissioner from Bloomfield Township. I think she's just recently passed away. And the Gosling Amendment was put in boilerplate every single time we accepted a grant. And it said, almost quote, when the grant money goes away, the program goes away. So you knew up front you're getting, say, $1 million for, dog licenses or something. But that didn't mean that you can bake this into your budget every year for ongoing, because when the grant money runs out, because when it was over, everyone would go, oh, no, you can't take that away. Well, it says there to begin with.
Right.
Well, then, of course, the discussion could begin. But yeah, that's, the Gosling Amendment. Of course, if you want to adopt it up in Lansing, you should call it the Moss Amendment. But we'll take
I would too. Bring it right down from Bloomfield Hills again.
Yeah, call it the Chuck Moss Amendment. I will gladly take credit for what Marilyn Gosling made up. But so let's shift a little gears now. Let's talk about here. There are lots of indicators out lately that Michigan has once again fallen behind other states in competitiveness, and we're behind Indiana again. I said it hurts to be uncompetitive with India, but Indiana, oh my gosh. So Gretchen Whitmer, she's the Leonid Brezhnev of Michigan. It's been the era of stagnation. What will it take to get Michigan moving again?
Well, first of all, there's a lot of indicators of where we fall in on the mark. So are we behind in employment? Well, we're behind in our schools. We're behind on our roads. There's a lot. We're ahead on our crime. I mean, so which one do we want to take in? But let's start with just the schools. We have great infrastructure for our schools. We have wonderful universities. And what we're finding is that our grade scores are going down. The amount of kids going into school is going down. And the graduates that are going to college are leaving the state of Michigan. And so these are really good factors of what we need to change the dynamic.
These are very effective metrics.
Yes. And then that we need to do something to be able to retain and to attract talent for the state of Michigan. And so I think that, first of all, we could look at what other states are doing. Let's look at Tennessee, and let's look at Florida, let's look at Texas, let's look at...
You mean learn from our competition?
Can you even imagine?
Oh my goodness, what an idea.
North Carolina, I mean, they're doing things that they're taking the income tax, our personal income tax, out of charging our residents less taxes. I mean, so that would encourage people to spend more because we're taking less out of their pockets. And I think that that's something that we could do. And we did actually try to roll back the income tax. And the Democrats said, no, we need that income tax, and they did not sustain it past 1 year.
Well, they need the revenue. You need, what's the old Woody Allen line? We need the eggs. If you've ever seen the end of, I believe it's Annie Hall, because I need the eggs. What was it? No, my brother-in-law thinks he's a chicken. Well, don't you tell him he's not? Yeah, I know, but we need the eggs. Bottom line is, though, if we fall behind in competitiveness, we might find out where we were again in 2008, which was flat on our butts with, everything bankrupt.
We're the first out and the last one to recover because of how our state is designed. And we need to stop that now. And by raising taxes to be able to fund our roads, to tie it back in, is not a solution. Better budgeting, less spending, and to be able to use the money for fundamental uses of what government was designed for is what I ran on. It's what I always talk about, and what I'll forge forward to is let's fix the roads because we budget better there, Chuck.
Cut the crap, fund the fundamentals.
Absolutely.
Yeah, hey, I got a million of them. So really, is your caucus, the Republican caucus, working on a growth agenda Something you
Yes.
can bring out and say,
Thank
this
you.
is a growth
Thank
agenda.
you. We came up with a mission for Michigan, and it's like
Mission
don't say
for
it,
the mitten. I love it. I
just
love
don't say it.
alliteration.
Just don't say it 10 times fast because you'll stumble on.
I'll bet I could, but I won't.
10 very strategic steps to bring back Michigan. Not bring back, but just to make sure that we're competitive.
Restore our competitiveness.
Yes, and we have all the fundamentals in the state of Michigan. We have the Great Lakes. We have the manufacturing. You have great businesses. We have great colleges. And if we just worry about some of the fundamentals, which is the 10 steps for the mission for Michigan, that's what our plan is. So it's not just we don't want to just focus on what we're doing wrong, but we want to focus on 10 great steps moving forward.
Focus on fundamentals.
Yes.
Hey, I should hire myself as a consultant. Why not? Why should they get all the whatever? So, what will that take now to bring it forward? Find common ground with the other guys if you can. Bring forward. What would be the top 3 things you wave a magic wand? We're going to run out of time, so let's go.
Education, lower taxes, and safety. And safety within our communities. I mean, and back to the fundamentals. I mean, we need to make sure that we have police and the funding for the police in our communities to make our communities safe. And there was another plan that we came up with as a bill for some of the biggest crime cities in the state of Michigan to get additional funding from the sales tax to be able to put into the most violent crime cities, and Detroit is at the absolute top of the list.
Well, it always kind of is along there, but I must say, as someone who has not been to the city of Detroit since 9 o'clock last night, downtown Detroit is doing great.
Yes.
And we've had a guest on talking about Pontiac. It would be lovely to see Pontiac become the jewel of Oakland County and, the north anchor of the Woodward Corridor, like rather than us in Birmingham. So not just, we love Birmingham being on it, but to see Pontiac rising again. But public safety is the bottom line key.
Right.
So you're, what are you? You're chair of the money committee for transportation.
Yes. And then so speaking of Pontiac, some of the funding that they earmarked last year was to make Y-Track into a 2-lane. So that's a project that they're undertaking, I believe, this year
2-lane
as well.
both ways?
Yes. Yeah.
I perish the thought. I'm trying to think of it. I'm looking at if they could, what they've taken down that Phoenix Center.
Yes.
If they can put Saginaw Road all the way through, that would help too. That would help their downtown. Well, we're going to run out of time. It's been great talking to you, Representative Donni Steele, 54th District, including Bloomfield Hills, Bloomfield Township, Lake Orion, and Auburn as well. The money person for the roads, and maybe we can actually get some movement on. What is it? Cutting the crap and funding the fundamentals. I'll take
sir.
that.
Yes.
Well,
Thanks,
thank
Chuck.
you. Thank you
Thanks, Chuck.
and thank you all for joining us here on Eye on Oakland.